What's going on, Dub Nation? Welcome into Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot, and we are this close to the NBA trade deadline happening. And of course, we're going to talk about some pending trade rumors here on today's show with a player that I think could be a huge addition for the Golden State Warriors right now and help them win some ball games. Of course, that player I'm talking about is Brooklyn Nets center Nic Claxton. The 24-year-old is making a name for himself in the Big Apple, and I think he's got almost everything the Warriors are looking for to help push that needle just a little bit more and crack the top 10 of the Western Conference. And the reason why I'm bringing up Nic Claxton is because league insiders say he could be available for a trade by the deadline. So go ahead and break it down here from Marc Stein saying, I've heard more than once this week not to discount the idea that Brooklyn big man Nic Claxton could be more available over the next 7 days than previously advertised. There are mixed signals in circulation about the Nets' plans with Claxton as an unrestricted free agency looms this season. Well, believe it or not, Nic Claxton was 3 or 4 picks away from possibly landing in the Golden State area. Of course, Jordan Poole was drafted 28th during the 2019 NBA draft. Nic Claxton was drafted 31st by the Brooklyn Nets in the exact same draft. And we all know what happened with Jordan Poole and the Golden State Warriors. While he is still a fine basketball player, it just didn't work out in the Bay Area. So why not go ahead and try our luck again by trying to get Nic Claxton by this trade deadline, since they could have slipped out on this player in the 2019 NBA draft? Because he's been developing. Throughout the season, he's continuously getting better. His points per game, not nearly where they are last season, but last year he had the highest field goal percentage in the league at 70.6%. This season, he's still shooting 63.3% from the field, which is phenomenal. 2.1 blocks per game is incredible. 10 rebounds per game puts all of the Warriors stats to shame right now. He is absolutely cleaning the glass like it's a second income right now. And to break that down even more, let's look at his advanced stats. You see how I saw the blocks, 2.1 per game? Well, that's 7th right now in the NBA. He's 11th in rebounds, and like I said, cleaning the glass is his second income. This man does it for a living on offense and on defense. And overall, defenders are shooting he's defending field goals 47.9% overall. That's less than 6 feet. That's more than 15 plus feet. He is holding opponents to shooting 47.9% from the field, which is phenomenal for a big man. So let's get to know a little bit more about Nic Claxton and what's upcoming for this man and his future, because he's currently in the last year of his contract. He's making about $9.4 million right now in the Brooklyn Nets salary range, but they have not re-signed him to come back next season. So the Nets are trying to figure out how to get him back without going over that tax apron, because, of course, they do have a lot of players, including Mikal Bridges, that they do want to extend and pay big money for. But the good news is that Nic Claxton, it's hard when you say it 5 times fast, is that he's constantly getting better at his game. Right now, he's been extremely effective on his hook shots and his mid-range. He's trying to be a better big than just shooting under the basket. Not so much from the three-point line. Maybe that's the next thing he'll work on. But overall, I'll take a hook shot in a mid-range, and it can help the Warriors scoring in the paint as well as just outside of it. So, nonetheless, I have a big fat question for you guys before I dive down deeper into what a Nic Claxton trade to the Golden State Warriors would look like. And that question for you guys is, should the Warriors trade for Nic Claxton ahead of the NBA trade deadline? Go on ahead and type T for trade or type P for pass. While you guys are taking your time down in the comments explaining why you would like to have Nic Claxton or not have Nic Claxton, let's go ahead and talk to you guys about Prize Picks. They are our sponsor here on Warriors Today, and they are the most fun daily fantasy sports app that you will play. I can almost guarantee it. Why? Because it's super easy. It takes, all you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. And it's not just NBA. They've got NFL, MLB, NHL, college, professional, you name it. And better yet, they've got a huge promotion going on for Super Bowl Sunday. 99% off Patty Mahomes' passing yards. If he gets 1 passing yard, you win. That's definitely a lock. I'm going to take Brock Purdy to have less than 248.5 passing yards. I think he does a little bit more damage on the ground. So I'm going to go with less on Brock Purdy, but these are my picks for Super Bowl Sunday, but I want to see yours. All you guys have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100, and you can watch yourself win some real money in real time. So the Brooklyn Nets, let's break down why they would possibly give away somebody like Nic Claxton, because overall, they would like him to stay in Brooklyn if they pay him between $20 to $25 million. That's what Nic Claxton told a reporter in an interview, but the Nets have not made any progress yet on potentially keeping the big man in New York. But that's a pretty hefty salary right there to make $20 to $25 million for the Brooklyn Nets. So here's why I think he should come to the Golden State Warriors, because the way that Nic Claxton is playing right now kind of fits a lot of the Warriors' needs. They need a true big. He's 6'11", so that's a big fat check. Defensive assets. He's 7th in blocks, and he's 11th in rebounds. I love it. And they need a secondary shooter. Well, 12.1 points per game is not crazy for a secondary shooter. You're still kind of looking for a guard there, but nonetheless, it's more than Draymond Green and Kevon Looney are averaging right now. So I'll take Nic Claxton's points per game over those two players that have been normally playing big for the Golden State Warriors. But there is a big asking price for the big man. To get Nic Claxton to come to the Golden State Warriors, you're going to give up Kevon Looney because you won't need him as a center anymore. You're going to need to give up Moses Moody because they have time after time asked for younger players so they can start building around bridges in the Brooklyn area. I'd rather give up Moody than Jonathan Kuminga. And then they're asking for 2 first picks for Mikal Bridges. They're also asking for 2 first picks for Dorian Finney-Smith. And reports show they've already turned down an offer with 2 first picks for Dorian Finney-Smith, which is why I attached a first-round pick in 2026 and a 2028 second-round pick. I think Nic Claxton is worth a first, maybe a second, but Mike Dunleavy might have to work out those quirks around draft picks. But nonetheless, you're going to have to give up some capital to be able to attain this big that could be with the Golden State Warriors for a long time, as he is a 24-year-old that has not touched his ceiling yet. He is continuously getting better. He is continuously proving why he could be in the running for a Defensive Player of the Year one of these years. He is a growing big man that the Warriors are lacking severely. Do I think Draymond Green is one of the best defenders the Golden State Warriors have ever had in this past decade? Absolutely. Is he a true big? No. So why not get somebody that's just as aggressive on defense, but is 6'11" and becomes the tallest player on your roster? I see no reason why Mike Dunleavy should not at least be calling the Brooklyn Nets about Nic Claxton, because he combines his rim protection with his high-level switchability. You would think 6'11" is just an anchor big that stands in the paint. Well, that's not what Nic Claxton does. He has actually locked up Steph Curry a few times. He is fantastic switching from guards to wings to centers. He can defend all 5 spots, all while smacking the ball out of bounds with a dominant block into the stance. It's dramatic, but it's effective. He also plays on or off ball at an elite level. He knows where his man is, especially where the ball is. If he needs to switch off his players, he is not afraid to go head-to-head with a point guard like a Steph Curry, like a Trae Young, like an Anthony Edwards. He can protect at multiple levels on and off the ball. So I've made my case. Mike Dunleavy, if you're watching, I think you should give the Brooklyn Nets a call and just see what their asking price is for Nic Claxton, because when you have Klay Thompson as an expiring contract towards the end of the season, same thing with Chris Paul, you've got a little bit of salary space that's going to clear up that could fit a $20 million player. But do you think Nic Claxton would make the Warriors a playoff team this year? The NBA trade deadline is extremely close, and to have Nic Claxton push the needle for the Warriors would be huge. Go on ahead and type Y for yes, type N for no, and let me know what you guys think down below. While you guys are at it, be sure to hit that sub button for me. Anything happens, if Nic Claxton becomes a Golden State Warrior, I'm going to report about it right here. I do not want you guys to miss it, so go on ahead and hit that subscribe button.